action to return education to where it belongs, and that's to
We begin with breaking news tonight. The search is on for a woman who fell into the Carbon River. The very latest is 30 seconds away. We're also under a first alert weather night as weather is threatening the mountains and lowlands. Meteorologist Leah Pizzetti is tracking the latest on our avalanche and flooding risks right now.
Right, Madison. An atmospheric river is taking aim at the Pacific Northwest this evening. In your first alert forecast, I'll show you what that means for the rest of tonight and how we're going to start our work week.
A lot of them are terrified, and I'm terrified for them because we don't know what's going to happen.
The Trump administration has some changes in mind for the U.S. Postal Service. Why some are worried it will slim down an agency already struggling to deliver. And lawmakers are mourning the loss of a former State House Speaker who had an incredible impact in Washington state. The legacy of Frank Chopp. First alert, we're tracking dangerous weather in both the mountains and lowlands. In addition to avalanche risk over the Cascades, we're keeping a close eye on potential flooding. Your first alert forecast with meteorologist Leah Pizzetti is 1 minute away. We are following two breaking news stories out of Pierce County right now. First, crews are desperately searching for a woman who fell into the Carbon River. This all happened in Carbonado, less than 30 miles east of Spanaway. A dog who fell in with her has been recovered about 2 miles away. The Pierce County Sheriff's Office says her boyfriend called 911 around noon today. Deputies are still working to learn how the woman and dog fell into the water. King 5's Maddie White is there as crews are searching for her. We'll let you know once we learn more. More breaking news out of Pierce County right now. The sheriff's office says that there has been a shooting involving deputies on Pacific Avenue in Tacoma. It's still very early on in this investigation there. A lot of law enforcement presence is happening on that street right now. No word on what led up to the shooting or if anyone is hurt. We will keep you updated once we learn more from sheriff officials. King 5 is under a first alert tonight due to threats in both the mountains and lowlands. In the mountains, we're tracking an avalanche warning in effect. And this map from the Northwest Avalanche Center shows considerable and high avalanche risk down the Cascades. This just updated 30 seconds ago. Travel through the passes is tricky right now. No restrictions on Snoqualmie, Stevens, or Blewett passes, but traction tires are advised on White Pass. This is changing a lot as snow and rain continues to fall over the mountains, so if you have to travel, check ahead. In the lowlands, a mix of rain and wind are bringing some flooding chances to western Washington. Parts of our area could see several inches of rain by tomorrow. Our weather department has you covered with everything you need to know. Meteorologist Leah Pizzetti is joining me now live in studio to walk us through those conditions outside, Leah.
Yeah, Madison, it has been a very active weather day, and we are not done yet. We're talking about rising rivers. We're talking about that avalanche risk. It all goes hand in hand. We have a pretty warm system that's heading our way right now, and it's bringing rain not only to the lowlands, but also the mountains as well. So that rain on top of snow in the mountains is increased that avalanche risk, and that's causing snow melt. We're getting that rain in our rivers, and that is causing rivers to rise. So it's a lot we're watching from the lowlands to the mountains. It's also been very blustery today. Here's a look at our observed wind gusts so far. Hoquiam close to 60-mile-per-hour gusts. Whidbey Island close to 50-mile-per-hour gusts. Everett actually clocked in a gust of 40 miles per hour. So right here is where we're seeing some of our windiest conditions, but it's also where we're seeing some of our lowest rain totals. Everett's only seen 1/100th of an inch of rain, whereas Quileute is nearing 4 inches of rain. We have that rain shadow that is set up right now, so that is blocking a lot of the rain in the Central Sound area. However, we do still have a good amount of rain across western Washington. Along the coast, we're seeing some moderate rainfall up to the north, some light rainfall as well, and some moderate rainfall heading toward the passes. I'll show you what that means for the rest of tonight in just a bit.
Leah, thank you. Thousands of people across the country are participating in rallies outside of their local post offices. This all comes after the U.S. Postal Service postmaster announced thousands of jobs will be cut in the coming weeks, and there will be major changes within the agency with help from DOGE. This is what we saw locally today. New video out of Everett, Tacoma, Olympia, and in Seattle. King 5's Brady Wakayama brings us the message from Seattle tonight.
We're outside of the Westwood Post Office. It's quiet now, but earlier today, this parking lot was jammed with about 200 people taking a stand against these cuts, hoping to protect post offices like this one and others nationwide. We shall not be moved. On a wet Sunday afternoon, hundreds of United States postal workers in the state are working on their day off. We are union, we shall not be moved. Working to deliver this message. Fight like hell! Fight like hell! Fight like hell!
Fight like hell means we need to get out there and fight like hell to protect our post office. This is a nationwide rally.
One more time.
Kevin Gottlieb has been a letter carrier for nearly 40 years. He's also the president of Branch 79 in Seattle within the National Association of Letter Carriers, the union representing postal workers. It's spearheading these types of rallies across the country, including 9 throughout Washington.
A lot of them are terrified, and I'm terrified.
It comes after the Postmaster General of USPS, Louis DeJoy, released this letter earlier this month, saying he plans on teaming up with DOJ to make changes, addressing what he calls is the mismanagement of USPS retirement assets and its workers' compensation program, along with addressing regulatory requirements that he describes as restricting normal business practice. But the biggest concern from many are plans to cut 10,000 workers by mid-April.
And they're wondering, do I have a job going here in the next few weeks or months or whatever? And
he believes it's not only a threat for their jobs, but a threat to communities nationwide.
It could be delays of service. It could be days of no service. It could be you might have to come pick up mail. It's all the unknown right now.
Concerns that resonate with many others like Susan Ham, who relies on the postal services.
It really will destroy much of our country.
Postal workers we spoke with are hopeful that will be prevented if people reach out to their senators and plead with the public to show their support.
Slowly, people are rising up, and if the Congress is so stymied they can't do anything, then it's up to the people.
And we did reach out to USPS to learn what impacts these cuts could have here in Washington, but we haven't heard back. Reporting in Seattle, Brady Wakayama, King 5 News.
This is the most beautiful place on earth, and we need to protect this.
Demonstrators took to Mount Rainier National Park yesterday with another goal to protect the parks and the people who care for them. This protest was one of many at parks across the country. The hope is not only to protect public lands, but to stand with federal workers who were fired by the Trump administration. A 39-year-old Seattle man is dead after a 3-car crash on I-5 southbound. It happened in the lanes in Mount Vernon near the Anderson Road exit. The State Patrol says it happened after a car spun out, landing in the second lane. A second and third car then crashed into them. The driver in the second car died. His passenger, an 18-year-old girl, was taken to the hospital. Washington State Patrol says no drugs or alcohol were involved. New tonight, 2 teenagers are in custody after shooting at a man and his son near the Kitsap Mall. It happened yesterday afternoon around 4:45. The Kitsap County Sheriff's Office says the man was driving with his son when the 2 teens walking nearby began shouting at him. The teens chased him, then started shooting at him with handguns as he pulled into the parking lot. No one was hurt, but bullets hit 2 other nearby cars. Deputies were able to chase down the teens on foot. They were arrested for 1st and 2nd degree assault, among other charges. Tonight, legislators are mourning the loss of one of their own. Former State House Speaker Frank Chopp has passed away. The Democrat spent 3 decades in the State House of Representatives and served as House Speaker for 20 years. Among his many accomplishments, he co-founded the Seattle Tenants Union and the Low Income Housing Institute. He worked on the Food Resources Network to organize support for food banks, and he initiated Apple Health for All Kids, which provides free single-payer health care to young people in Washington state. Responses are coming in from across the state tonight. In Seattle, Representative Nicole McCree shared, quote, "Frank Chopp was a giant among us who led with humility and an unparalleled drive to improve circumstances for our neighbors with the greatest struggles." Out of Kirkland, Representative Larry Springer wrote, "Part of me will always have his voice in my ear, pushing me to do whatever it takes to help the people in every corner of this state." And Governor Bob Ferguson sharing this photo of Chopp tonight, writing, quote, "Frank Chopp was a force in Washington politics. This photo was taken in 2016. This is how I will remember Frank, hanging out with my daughter at a political event with that twinkle in his eye." Frank Chop was 71 years old.
We're in real trauma here, and it's already 7 weeks into this, and we have no information.
Still ahead tonight, grieving parents call for justice. We're hearing from the family in Seattle as police work to find the driver who hit and killed their son.
And it's a first alert weather night as I continue to track rain heading our way into our evening hours tonight. Not just rain in the lowlands, but also in the mountains. I'll show you what that means for avalanche risk and rising rivers straight ahead.
Hey, Blake Anderson here to tell you about this, the Flash Force Tactical Flashlight. Stick around because I'm going to tell you about this amazing free offer just for our